Eagles, Eagles! Go Birds! Hey, Monday Night Football. All right. I don't know why we got blue on in this thing. We're playing the Seahawks, but it's okay. All right. Yeah, it's not okay. Thank you. Now it's Seahawks colors. There we go. We're bleeding green in this mofo. The only blue allowed in here is the magic blue. All right. They're riding high. The Eagles are not flying so high right now. Both teams are not doing good, but they're in must-win matchups, and they are both potential, if not currently, playoff teams. The Eagles are. I think there's a six-way tie with 6 and 7 teams, and the Seahawks are one of those teams. So I'm going to bring you a fantasy player. Seb's going to bring you a fantasy player prop, and then we're going to talk about a score prediction.
All right, so my fantasy player for this week, and since it's fantasy playoffs, this is going to be really important for me. But the team he's on for me is on a bye, so doesn't really matter. But if you have DeAndre Swift,
yeah,
okay,
that's hilarious. You said that.
You better keep him in your starting lineup. Okay, I know he's been struggling for you, but I blame it on the play calling. Okay, y'all play calling sucks recently.
Really bad.
So, DeAndre Swift, we know, not so productive in his last few games. He hasn't even scored over 10 points in his last 3 games, which is awful, considering how he started off the year. This is to be blamed on the play calling in Philly. Thanks a lot. And I think last week should have woke up the play calling. The last 2 weeks should be like, hey, we're doing something wrong, obviously, because we're getting our asses whooped. Okay? Do you know what works with this offense? Run the ball, okay? When they run the ball, they are the most effective and unstoppable team in the NFL. DeAndre Swift is going up against a team who seriously can't stop the run. They are 28th versus opposing backs, okay? Tony Pollard had 68 and a touchdown on this defense. And Tony Pollard has not been the guy this year. If Tony Pollard could give you his best fantasy game of the year on this defense, so will Swift. Swift will even top him, even triple him. I promise you that.
And you're absolutely right. Go on.
DeAndre Swift is my fantasy start this week. Don't bench him.
And also for me, DeAndre Swift is my fantasy start. And to back off Seb's last point, to top off Seb's last point, he said that Tony Pollard had his best game of the whole season against him. You know who else did? Miles Sanders. One of the weeks that he was in my lineup that I actually felt good about starting him, and he had 17 points and got in the end zone. I am with Seb with DeAndre Swift, but also look at his backup, Kenneth Gainwell, who's had decent amount of usage the last couple weeks. 4 carries for 28 yards. That's over 5 yards a carry. All right. Also, he had 6 targets with 4 receptions last game, and then he had 3 receptions in the game before that. So we do use Kenneth Gainwell when Swift isn't playing too well or when we're in certain pass sets. Kenneth Gainwell is absolutely a product of the Eagles' offense. Also, I would like to say, the Seahawks give up the 4th most fantasy points to running backs, equaling a top 5 matchup for the Eagles' running backs room. Then, opposing running backs average 25.8 points per game against Seattle. Those teams also don't have the best O-line in the league. The Eagles have the best O-line in the league. I think, like Seb said, DeAndre Swift is a start. He's my start. Kenny Gainwell is also my start. Eagles running backs against the Seattle defense absolutely can get you.
Let's just hope that they run the ball.
I know, man. I know.
Let's pray to God they run the ball because they can't. They don't. I don't know.
I think they will.
I'm concerned about who the guy up in the booth is
standing out there
plays.
saying, no, I know, it's been extremely bad.
Who is this doofus, right?
I don't know. Some guy that Nick Sirianni grew up with.
Didn't you guys lose your offensive coordinator to the Colts?
Yeah.
So there's the problem. There's the problem right there. Y'all shouldn't have a little him because now this new dude,
job, man.
This new dude ain't gonna get another job in the whole league.
I know.
Sorry, man. All right, to my prop, and you know what? I'm rolling Eagles all the way here. Dallas Goedert is my prop. They didn't have any Seahawks props, but if you need a Seahawks prop, DK Metcalf over on receiving yards, any line, literally any line. The Eagles secondary is awful. James Bradbury is awful. On that contract is a waste.
Okay, DK 100.5. Come on, man.
Okay, DK's lines hasn't been set over 68 this year.
Thank you.
Okay.
That is true.
So if it's 68 and lower, take it because the Eagles secondary just gives up so many points.
It's got a little disrespectful there. I just had to.
I know, but it's true.
It said any line.
It's true.
DK plus 150.
It's true.
I like it. No, you're right.
It's true.
DK hasn't been over 68.
It's sad.
He's going to get over 68.
I hate to admit it, but the Eagles are the worst pass defense in the NFL right now, which is ironic because they're one of the best offenses, not as of late, but in total. But anyways, Dallas Goedert is my prop for this. Over 41.5 receiving yards. In his last 3 out of 5 games that he has played in, he's went over this line. And last week was his first game back from injury. Keep in mind, he broke his forearm. He had 30 yards. Okay, that's pretty good coming off of injury. His line is really low, which I understand why. I expect Philadelphia to get him more involved this game since he is such an important piece of their offense. He's also playing the 19th ranked defense versus the tight end and is in an environment that is tight end friendly in Seattle. We've seen tight ends go nuts in Seattle this year, along with Kittle. So Seattle also allows an average of 56.77 yards to opposing tight ends. I expect Goddard to be heavily involved in this game because Philadelphia need to use him to his extent. When they use him, they're the most effective on offense. I could pull up game footage all year of when Dallas Goedert is involved
in the tape. You're right. You're absolutely right.
If Dallas Goedert is involved on any run play, they get at least 12 yards on scrimmage. At least. Okay?
He's a great blocker.
Also, when he's involved in the pass game, they average at least 3 first downs on a drive. I saw this stat earlier in the week, which was crazy to me. I didn't screenshot it for some reason, but I saw this stat. When they involve Dallas Goedert in the pass game, they get 3 first downs on a drive on an average.
Wow.
Dallas Goedert has to be involved in this pass game. Even in the run game, just has to be involved.
Every drive they target Dallas Goedert, they get 3 first downs.
Yeah.
Wow.
They need him. And that's why when they didn't have him, their offense just looked out of whack. Right?
Yeah.
They need this guy. So Dallas Goedert is my prop for this game.
Cool. So that brings my prop. Yes. So like Seb said, I like his prop. I'm also going to do an Eagles prop because, like Seb said, there's none Seahawks props. And I'm going to go with Devontae Smith over. All right? He's gone over this mark in 4 out of 5 of his last game. I'm sorry. In 4 straight games. And 5 of his last 6 games. This line is set at 58.5 receiving yards. So that one game that was under in his last 6 was 51. So he's gone over 50 in 6 straight games. Also, Devon Witherspoon will be focused on A.J. Brown. All right? And Quandre Diggs is going to be playing over the top of A.J. Brown.
He's so nice.
He is. He's very nice.
So good.
But their second DB is not too good. Also, the over-under for this game is 48.5 points. That's pretty high. That's close to 50 points.
Jesus.
All right? Give me the Devontae over. 6 straight games of over 50 yards. All right? He's going to 100% hit. 5 of his last 6 games, 4 straight games, he's hit this mark. Go over 58.5 receiving yards for Devontae Smith. Against the Seahawks defense, that is vulnerable and gives up over 20 points per game.
Yeah. I was looking at Smith, a.k.a. Skinny Batman. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one. I think he hits too. I think A.J. Brown gets shut down again to an extent. He's not been producing recently, so we'll see. All right.
He could come back. I hope he does.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephon Gilmore old.
Don't forget, he wanted to be a Patriot. All right. Going to my Eagles versus Seahawks score prediction. Now, this game is going to be really ugly, I think, for the Eagles. Okay? I'm not saying they're going to lose. I think Eagles win 28-20, okay? But it's going to be an ugly win. It's always tough to play in Seattle. It's always tough. Game is in Seattle. And Seahawks are going to be ramped up, and they're desperate for a win. They're more desperate for a win than the Eagles are, believe it or not. Again, Philadelphia is not good in first halves of games. They're just not. They can't score for some weird reason. They don't run the ball. They don't score a lot. Seattle will lead at the half. I'll say this now. Okay, I think the Seahawks lead at the half, and then now everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my God, what's going on with the Eagles?" Or right? The Eagles are gonna come out and just go crazy. Okay. I think Philadelphia have to come from behind in this game. They haven't had to do that all year, but I think they have to come from behind this game. They've been down the last 2 games and they failed to come from behind. They go down in this game and they come from behind and they actually succeed in this. This will be a test
down
to them.
against the Bills and the Chiefs, but it's all right.
I'm talking about the last 2 games.
Yeah, 2 games for that Chiefs-Bills. We were down, but it's okay. Don't come back. Go on.
I think Philly edge out this win. They can't stop the pass, and the Seattle Seahawks can't stop the run. So it's, you give them this, and I'll give you this. That's how this is going to be. Philadelphia is 32nd versus the pass, and Seattle is 28th versus the run. I strongly feel like this game is a trap game. However, Philly hasn't been playing good the last 2 games. They're due for a really good game, like an explosive game. The play calling is absolutely terrible, and they haven't been able to score much in the last 2 games. Seattle isn't a must-win and are super desperate, but Philadelphia, they know they can't drop 3 in a row. It's hard not to favor Seattle in this game due to the recent circumstances, but Philadelphia are favored to win by a stretch. It will be ugly, but Philadelphia, like I said, get this much-needed win after 2 critical blowout losses and start to prepare for those important playoffs that they need to win.
Well, I didn't like all the bad things you said about my team, but I like that you said we're going to win, because we are going to win. And the Eagles are going to win this game 32-27. It's going to be a close game, and the reason I have this being a close game is because both teams are at the lowest possible point in their seasons.
Yeah. That's why I was saying all the bad stuff is it's like a low, you know what I mean?
Both are on a losing streak. Eagles dropping 2 games in a row, which has been over a year since they do so, because that didn't happen last year. Also, the Seahawks dropping 4 straight. The Eagles clinch a playoff berth with a win. The Seahawks stay in the hunt for a wild card spot if they win, and are very much alive at 7-7. It's much better to be 7-7 rather than 6-8. The Eagles' record on the road is 5-2, while the Seahawks are 4-2 at home. So they are a good home team, but the Eagles are a better road team. All right? Both defenses are very similar, and the Eagles give up the 5th most points per game, and the Seahawks give up the 4th most points per game, as the Seahawks give up 24.7 points per game, and the Eagles give up 24.5 points per game. So the Eagles are also better in that aspect, even though it is very, very close and they're neck and neck for that.
Yeah.
The Seahawks' run defense is bottom 10, though, and that's what it comes down to, I think. They're ranked 23rd and allowing 123 yards on average per game. The last 3 games, they've given up 159 yards. That's almost 160 yards per game on the ground. The Eagles are very strong in the run game when they choose to be, and I think this game they do not have a choice, and they must run the ball. They're going to get to a point where they're not going to want DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith and Jigba on the field. All right? The Seahawks offense does match up very well. But Geno is hurt. Mm-hmm. He may play. Drew Lock looked pretty good last week against the Seahawks for about 2.5 quarters.
Just 49ers?
49ers, I meant. I'm sorry. Yes, the 49ers. But I think the game is close. The Eagles don't mess around late in the game and run the ball to control the clock after scoring a good amount of touchdowns and letting the Seahawks score because they'll be lackadaisical on defense. And the Eagles win this game 32-27 on the road. Go 5-3 at home. I'm sorry. 6-2 on the road.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I listen, it's a trap game for me, man.
If they were winning,
I see y'all getting beat, but I see y'all also winning this game more than getting beat.
We're gonna win.
I just, you know what I mean?
Eagles money line all the way. We're gonna win.
Wow, you're gonna have a lot of pissed off people if that doesn't happen.
Bro, the Eagles are. If no one gets hurt, the Eagles are gonna win. I promise you. We have to win this game.
it seems like one person at least all gets hurt every
Okay,
single game.
If Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Jalen Hurts, and AJ Brown don't get hurt, and Darius Slay don't get hurt, so 6 players. One of those 6 players, there's
That's
22 on the
probability
field.
right there.
No, there's one of 20. There's 22 players on the field.
Okay.
So if one of those 6 players don't get hurt, we're straight. We're good. Slay,
Okay.
Brown, Kelsey, Johnson, Hurts.
Blankenship?
He can get hurt and I'll still win the game. I don't want him to get hurt.
Jesus. Okay.
I don't want him to, but he can and we can still win. But
All right, well, you heard it here first. Eagles win the game on Monday Night Football. EJ has to stay up late 2 weeks in a row. I know he's not proud of that. Let's hope
I'll
this
do it for
time.
an Eagles win. I will not do it for a fucking blowout loss. Excuse my language.
Yeah, I know. Last week you probably...
Yeah, that was rough. Depression. Also, to whoever watches this, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if you do or not. Maybe you are, but someone left me a Cowboys blanket on Monday morning in the gym door. And I opened up the door and a Cowboys blanket hit me in the face and was hanging down from the door frame. I took that thing. I didn't even hesitate. Just like Seb's danger. I didn't even hesitate. Just like I just grabbed it and threw it in the bushes. It looks like a hobo's blanket. It's so disgusting. I think I got disease when it hit me in the face. I'm not joking. Not joking.
And you don't
and
know
I threw
who
it in the
did
bushes. I don't know who did it. And they still haven't gotten their blanket because it's still in the place that I threw it last. All right? And if you don't go retrieve it, when we kick your ass in the playoffs, I'm going to burn it. I'll make sure to wear a mask because that thing definitely has an STD. All right? And I don't want to breathe that in. But retrieve that and reveal yourself. Please.
All right, well, we put our 2-man together and add DK Metcalf in there or any receiver on the Seahawks if you feel confident enough. We'll see you guys next week. And as the weeks get closer, playoffs get closer. We'll see you guys.
Go Birds!